Have you ever looked back on a relationship or group and thought, how did it get this bad? I would have never put up with this at the start. That's not an accident, it's a tactic. Or maybe you said no to staying late, no to plans you didn't want, or no to doing something, and then somehow you still end up doing it anyways. That's not pressure, that's called boundary pushing. It's the stage after boundary testing. First, they find your edges, and then they keep pushing them further and further away until your original no doesn't even exist anymore. Hi, my name is Callie Sorensen. I have a master's in the psychology of coercive of control, and I help people break free from toxic relationships and build emotionally healthy relationships and lives. And in this video, I'm going to explain what boundary pushing is and how it happens, the 5 most common ways toxic people push your limits, and the one question that reveals if a relationship is healthy or if it's quietly training you to surrender your boundaries. What is boundary pushing? Boundary pushing is the deliberate escalation of small boundary crossings until what once felt unacceptable starts to feel normal. The tactic is simple. Normalize a small push and then push again, and then again, and then again. It's not about whether you say no once, it's about whether over time your no stops holding weight. It's a slow creep. The one-time favor that becomes your daily obligation. The sarcastic joke that becomes constant criticism. The just one-time intrusion that becomes surveillance. The danger isn't the big leap. It's the slow drip of disrespect until you didn't notice that the water is boiling. Boundary pushing is the groomer's way of shaping your reality until their control feels natural. So what's the difference between boundary testing and boundary pushing? If you've watched my video on boundary testing, you know where it starts. Boundary testing are single probes. They're gathering the data. What will you laugh off? What will you let slide? Where are your edges? Boundary pushing is what comes after that. Once they know what your edges are, they don't stop. They push that boundary and then slowly keep moving it 1 inch at a time. At first, the promise or demand is small, and then it shifts a little further, and then it shifts again. And before you know it, you're miles away from where you first started. And now, what was once unacceptable feels normal. Boundary testing is about finding your limits, and boundary pushing is about training you not to have any. So here are a few examples. A partner starts with, why do you spend so much time with your family? And then later, slowly over time, it's escalated to, I don't want you to see them anymore. Or maybe somebody teases you once, and then before you know it, it becomes daily insults. A friend borrows $20, then $100, and then eventually thousands with no repayment in sight. A colleague brushes against you once, and then that touch lingers longer and longer. It's never one big jump. Once they know where your edges are, they don't stop. They keep pressing, drip by drip, until your no doesn't mean no anymore, and the new normal looks nothing like where you started. Here are the 5 most common ways that groomers push your boundaries. Number 1, incremental escalation, moving the goalposts. They don't push you all at once. They inch forward, step by step, so you barely notice the drift. For example, a boss asks you to stay 10 minutes late one day, and then soon it's 30 minutes late, and then hours, until it's just expected. That's why it's called moving the goalpost. Every time you adapt, they shift the line a little further away until you're playing a completely different game than when you started. And why it works? In psychology, we call it foot in the door effect. Once you've said yes to a small thing, you're more likely to accept the next, slightly bigger step. Number 2, redefining normal, the baseline shift or normalization of deviance. What shocked you at first slowly becomes just how it is. It now seems normal. One edgy joke turns into daily put-downs. One favor turns into an ongoing obligation. And why it works? Humans naturally adjust to new baselines and gradual change. It's called the normalization of deviance. Each step feels small, but over time, your standards slide until the unacceptable feels ordinary. Number 3, wearing down your no, turning boundaries into negotiations. They treat no as the beginning of a debate, not the end. You'll hear, come on, just do it this once. It's not that big of a deal. Don't be so uptight. Everyone else would. And if you resist, they might flip it Darvo style. You're the one creating the drama. Why does this work? Persistence plus guilt makes you question yourself. The moment you bend once, you've taught them that your no is negotiable. Number 4, intermittent reinforcement, the hot cold trap. After they push, they'll switch, apologizing, love bombing, or giving you the sweetness or reward that you were craving, and then they'll push again. For example, a cruel comment is followed by flowers and then affection until the next harsher comment. And why it works? This is the same psychology behind gambling addiction. The unpredictable reward keeps you hooked, chasing the good moments while ignoring the bad. And make sure you check out my other video on the cycle of abuse to learn more about this trap. Number 5, from access to authority, when nudges become control. It starts with small intrusions framed as harmless and then turns into rules, entitlement, and control. Let me check your phone once turns into, I need your passwords. Or it starts with, why do you see your friends so much? Into later on, I don't want you seeing them at all. And why it works? Each concession blurs the line between your autonomy and their control until their preferences become the rules that you live by. Do you see this pattern? It's rarely one big leap. It's step by step, push by push until the new normal looks nothing like where you began. Why do we not notice that boundary pushing is happening when it's happening? Because it is designed to be invisible. Each step feels too small to matter, and you justify it. It's just this once. They probably didn't mean it. I don't want to cause conflict. And groomers count on that. They lean on your empathy, your politeness, and your fear of seeming too much. And if you do object, they flip it back onto you. You're overreacting. You're too sensitive. Why are you making this a big deal? That guilt and shame trains you to override your gut. Instead of questioning them, you start questioning yourself. So please know you are not blind or weak. Boundary pushing is designed to be gradual. You don't wake up one day in a toxic situation. You slide there, inch by inch. Here's a practical takeaway, a simple test you can do. The next time you want to say no, just say no and pause and watch what happens next. A safe person will respect that no, or they will adjust. A toxic person pushes, guilts, deflects, minimizes, or blames you until you bend. Their reaction to your no will tell you everything that you need to know. Here's another check-in question that you can ask yourself. Would I have accepted this on day 1? If the answer is no, but you're accepting it now, that is not growth, that's conditioning. And that's a red flag that you've been boundary pushed. It's really helpful to have a healthy contrast, because here's the difference that matters the most. Healthy people stop when you say no. They may not love hearing it, but they respect you. They respect your feelings and your needs. However, groomers or toxic people, they don't stop. They keep pushing until your boundaries disappear. And once you see that difference clearly, you stop becoming groomable. So boundary pushing is how toxic people turn small tests into real control. And if you want to go deeper and learn to spot many of these patterns or are wondering, is my relationship healthy or not? Make sure you download my free red flag decoder guide. The link's in the description below. The moment that you recognize that healthy people stop when you say no, while groomers keep pushing, you've already broken that confusing spell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.